Hey everybody, welcome back to Project Happy Home. For those of you who are new here, I'm Tanya, a doctor, lawyer, turned homeschooling mom of 3 kids, ages 8, 5, and 3. Someone recently asked me what a doctor lawyer was. Just to let you know, I was a doctor briefly, and then I was a teacher, and then I was a lawyer. And now I am a homeschooling mom. But my friend Danielle and I, over at Danielle Gets It Done, decided to start the series on parenting emotionally complex kids because we both have some emotionally complex kids. Going forward, be aware that we may change the name of the series to include the label ADHD simply because both our children now have been diagnosed with that condition, and also because it makes it easier for parents of children with ADHD who are looking for resources to find these videos on the web. This week, we're going to be talking about how to deal with the setbacks that you run across when you're parenting an emotionally complex kid, including one with ADHD, SPD, one on the autism spectrum, a host of other things, just maybe a highly sensitive child, etc. So even though we might change the name of the series, just be aware that an emotionally complex kid encompasses a range of different kids. No matter what kinds of letters are associated with what's going on, it necessitates a different type of parenting, a little bit more aware parenting. And most of these videos deal with how to change your own heart and mind and reactions just as much as it deals with these external behavior modifications that we can help our child with. So with setbacks, I find that some of the times that I personally feel like we've had a personal setback is when I tried to push too much at once. Sometimes you have a tendency, like right after coming off of reading a great book about ADHD or reading a great article, you want to implement all the things. And so you do that. You have a discussion with your husband about how this weekend we're going to do all the things, and this is what we should do about this, and this is what we should do about that, and we've been doing it all wrong because of X, Y, and Z, and now we're going to do it this way. It can be a lot. Ask me how I know, because I try to do these things because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist in that way. I like to research a lot, and then I find an idea and I'm like, we're going to do this and this and this. And I find it's much more effective in every way for yourself, for your child, whether neurotypical or not, to introduce things little by little. So if you experience a setback in one particular area, maybe your child has been getting ready in the morning without effort or without too much effort for like 2 or 3 weeks now, for 3 or 4 months now. And all of a sudden there's this week where the bed isn't made, no one's coming downstairs. When you call them, they're like still building Legos. And you're like, what happened? We had this all down. This is not the way it's supposed to go. I've been working on these other problems because I thought we had this down. But your child is growing, right? Your child is literally growing as all of this behavioral modification is going on. Their brain is maturing, their hormones are changing, their idea of what they want to do with their mornings is changing, what they want to do with their life is changing. Even though I firmly believe that labels can definitely be empowering, I do think that sometimes as parents, we can put horse blinders on and see our children and issues with growing up under the lens of whatever diagnosis they have. Which of course we should, but other things are also going on. Sometimes we forget all the neurotypical, like, bad behaviors that might be going on. Everything isn't because of, whatever neurological difference our kids have. Sometimes it's literally just them being bratty or growing up or being a little bit lazy or all the normal array of human emotions. And so, one, take a step back, calm yourself, and address that one thing. If it's the morning routine that suddenly went out the window, address that one thing. Don't address all the things every single moment of every single day, because in an effort to scaffold our children, sometimes I think we can try to get to perfection too soon. And I think trying to get to perfection at all is probably not a great plan. Really what I think it all boils down to in terms of handling setbacks is to remind yourself of a growth mindset. Do you actually believe that everything is static, that this is just the way it's going to be? This mistake defines the way it's going to be forever? Or do you truly believe that every day can be an improvement? like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You're still advancing. I have this sign up for homeschooling, like every mistake is proof that you are learning. And if you look at life mistakes that way too, it can be really helpful. When I yell and lose my temper, that is a time for me to learn. I almost always reflect on that. I almost always feel bad. And I have this moment of regret and everything. It's much more constructive for me to think, what triggered you? What happened? Like, how can we learn from this mistake? Than it is to say, I'm such a bad mother. I can't believe I did that again. Yada, yada. Same thing with our kids. When they have like a series of setbacks with something that they had previously mastered, I think the best thing we can do for them in that moment is to tell them, this happened. There are certain things that might be harder for you than others, but I know you can do this. We've worked on this before. You've come so far with it. You're having more difficulty with it right now, but let's figure out what we can do to get you back there, to get it to be easier for you. Whether it's like verbal discontent or disrespectfulness or not being able to clean up your room or not being able to remember your homework or getting in trouble at school, whatever it is, it's our job to tell them, this is an opportunity for us to learn. You made a mistake. This is an opportunity for us to figure out what went on there. What were you thinking? How could we help you best to not do that again? How could we best help you get back up to the good behavior you were at or the good routines that you were at? How could we, and by we I mean your teachers, your coaches, your parents, your friends, how can we best help you when you have trouble with these things? I think emphasizing that we're all on the same team, we're all learning together at once is really helpful. We are all evolving. Every year that I parent my kids, whether neurotypical or not, I am evolving as a mother. And I definitely experience lots of setbacks in terms of my temper and my patience and just my expectations, etc. But I find that the kinder I can be to myself, the kinder I can be to my children as well. And I owe them a safe place to rest. So regardless of what's happened, whether it's at school or with a team or in their own bedroom or whatever mistake they've made, I think they realize that that was a mistake. Now is the time for us to see, like, how can we grow from there? Because it is really about a growth mindset. Nobody is static. Everyone's going to move in both directions. Everyone's going to make good choices and bad choices for the rest of their lives. And that's something for them to realize. So the best we can do is look back at each mistake, try to learn from it, try to figure out like what was going on there for me or for you, what triggered you, what distracted you. Let's see what we can do in our physical space to clear that out. Let's see what we can do in our emotional space to help you when those feelings arise again. One of the things I find really well in terms of interactions with other people, if I foresee that my son might have difficulty in a situation, I try to walk him through some of the things that might be triggers for him as it happens. I say very frankly to him, this might happen. Dealing with that might be harder for you, but I know you can do it because you've done it before. What do you think? And we might talk through different ways of handling a stressor. And honestly, as a mom, I feel like I should do that myself. And on my best days, I do that when I wake up. I imagine all the setbacks that might happen that day, especially for a homeschooling mom. And I try to prepare myself emotionally for that. Some days doesn't go so well, but like I said, having a realistic picture of slow progress and having a growth mindset goes a long way in helping us all remain positive as we parent our kids. I hope that was helpful. I don't have too much more to say, but if you want to learn more about a growth mindset, I would definitely recommend looking into Big Life Journal. I think I have a review video of that on my channel from last year. And just their whole website is good. And if you sign up, I think you get free emails of printables and things like that. And they're great to encourage this growth mindset. And also, a great book to read about this is called Mindset by, I believe, Carol Dweck. It's like D-W-E-C-K. I might be wrong about that. But those are both great resources, and I will link them in the description box down below. Don't forget to check out Danielle's video. She has a specific setback that recently happened that she'll be talking about in hers, and I'm sure you'll gain a lot from it as well. So I'll link Danielle's channel, hopefully up above and down below as well. Again, you guys, thank you so much for giving me your time. I really appreciate it, and I wish you guys the very best day.